the long winter time.
Hi folks, finally getting round to making the video of the Ecoflow Delta 2s. So to the left is the Delta Max, which I got last year. It's a great little unit. You can still get them, but they were out of stock, but so it doesn't really matter. It's by the by. So bought two of these, got them from Curry's. They were 800 quid a pop. So yeah, let's crack open the boxes and see what we've got. Alright folks, I did actually record me wrestling one-handed, holding a phone, recording me cutting open the box and trying to lift out with one hand. Yeah, if I ever do an outtakes video, there's probably going to be this on it, and the time I made the Faraday cage out the trash can, because it's essentially 10 minutes of my life swearing and shouting at a box, which, I don't know, it's probably better content than most of my videos, to be honest. So, with that to be said, on the unboxing front, inside the box, you get, not a lot, you get another box, okay, 240 charging cable for your mains, and the XT connector which goes in the back, and your 12 volt connection for charging 12 volts in your car cigarette lighter. You will probably never ever use that. It takes about 10 hours. That's what I'm led to believe. It will take about 10 hours. So yeah, that's not really a reliable method. It's nice to have, but I don't think you'd ever use it. To charge it, it's a 1 kilowatt battery. So to charge it to 80%, it's about 50 minutes. That gets you 80%, which is pretty fast. You know, you'll get most of the way there. On solar capacity is 500 watts. If you're getting 500 watts of sun or solar, then you're looking at about roughly 3 to 5 hours, depending how strong it is, right? So that's what you're looking at in terms of your solar. 12 volts, as I say, it's about 10 hours. Now, let's have a look at the front. So you've got a display here which has your runtime hours with the current load. So just out the box, it's come with 30% charge. So that's your battery discharge indicator. Input, currently, it's not plugged into anything, be that 240, 12 volts or solar. So obviously we're not getting any input. Output, we're not drawing anything. Okay, so we're not getting output, funnily enough. You've got 4 USBs at the front, 2 of which are fast charging, 2 USB-Cs, your main on off switch, and then you've got the USB on switch. Your 240 volt stuff's done at the back. But before we get to the back, at the side, you've got your cooling fans, your 2 carrying handles. Starting at the top, we have, that's for your solar input and your DC input for your car charger. Now, yeah, it's still the same as the other one. On that you'll see there's a conductive strip there, right? So what they used to do was, that's got it. So it'll affect the charging rate whether or not, if it's got this piece of metal in here to complete the circuit, it dictates and throttles the limits. You get different XT types of cables. Some have got the metal here, some don't. Just something to point out. That's your overload reset, just a little trip unit. 4 240 volt plug sockets. This is your 12 volt DC cigarette slot, if you like. And these, it comes with little leads that plug in here for an alternative DC input. I've yet to see anybody actually use that, and I mean ever, on any video or any review at all. I've got it dirty already. So the unit itself, it's robust, it's not too heavy, ergonomically it's easy enough to carry. Features wise, let's have a look at what you could actually run off it. So I did a bit of digging, right? So just to give people a kind of idea and a taster. So Your average phone on a full charge, you'll charge it 89 times. A drone, about 25 times for the average drone, like a DJ Mavic, something like that. Laptop, 16 full charges. 10 watt light, you'll run that for 31 hours. Your router, 31 hours, based on like a 10 watt router for your Skybox or whatever. An electric blanket, 50 watt electric blanket, 13 hours. Mini fridge, 16 to 32 hours. Obviously depending on the fridge and how much the compressor draws and that kind of thing. A freestanding fridge, so your bigger fridges, 7 to 14 hours. Now, again, the caveat to that, if you get the doors open and closing all the time and it's a big double door American style fridge, you're probably nearer the 7 hours than the 14. A blender. I don't know why you would use a power bank with a blender, but hey ho, we'll just brush past that. A microwave, a 1300 watt microwave, 0.6 hours. So if you were microwaving a really big dinner, right, and it takes over half an hour, you'll be able to do it with this. Okay. 1600 watt hairdryer, you'll be able to run it continuously for half an hour. 1800 watt air conditioning unit, 0.4 hours. And an 1800 watt induction cooker, basically half an hour, and the same for a 2200 watt electric heater. Now, it's worth talking about the output on it. So, let me just move this around and we'll talk about outputs. Right, sorry, I was just trying to relocate a wee bit there. So the battery capacity, it's 1024 watt hours. So it's a 1 kilowatt battery. Continuous power output. So when you talk about inverters, they'll have peak and surge mentioned a lot. This is essentially the same. So continuous power output is rated for 1800 watts, right? So that's its kind of maximum continuous base load it can sustain. Peak power output, they're saying 3600 watts. Now that's on a surge basis. When you turn on an electrical appliance, depending what it is, you'll have an initial surge of current, right? Which will be higher than its normal load, okay? So it'll run up to 3600 watts for a brief period till it gets to its base load. Output wise, we've already went over that. Weight, how heavy is it? Well, I don't think it's particularly heavy, and it's coming in at about 12 kilowatts. My goodness, can't get that right. I'm confusing everything tonight. It's coming in at 12 kilograms, okay? So, let me just move that. Okay, I just couldn't do that with one hand, sorry. So turning it round, that's your expansion port for an additional battery, right? That'll give you another battery you could stick on the top, plug it in. I did think about buying another battery, but it's only £200 cheaper than just buying another unit. Now, 200 quid's 200 quid, but my rationale for buying 2 units rather than 1 unit and a battery was it's a single point of failure. So if for talking's sake the power bank goes down, this being the control unit, the other one's effectively just a lump of LiPo battery. It's essentially worthless. It might be 2 kilowatts capacity, but I can't access it if the primary unit goes down. So there's no redundancy in that for me. I'd rather spend the £200 and you've got 2 of them and no longer got a single point of failure. And also it gives you a bit more flexibility. You may wish to put one of these in another room. You might want to leave one in a Faraday cage, such as this. So you could leave one in. So I want to leave one in a camper van, one in a Faraday cage, one charging. It gives you a lot more options and flexibility for contingencies. That was my kind of rationale for it. So this one plus that one still gives me 2 kilowatts. But for the sake of a couple hundred quids, I've not got a single point of failure and losing 2 kilowatts. I lose 1. Okay, so that was the kind of rationale for that. Now I did mention the 12 volt charging. They're talking about 10 hours, right? Really? You're going to leave your car running for 10 hours? I don't think that's a good use of your power. So they're doing another thing they've just brought out called the alternator charger, and it charges at 800 watts and it plugs in here. And it basically goes to your car battery, and the other end goes onto this effectively. So when you're running your car engine, instead of getting 12 volts and maybe putting out about 10 amps or whatever, you'll fire 800 watts straight in here. So that cuts your charging time down to about 2 to 3 hours as opposed to 10 hours, which is an entirely different kettle of fish. However, it's £800 for it, right? I mean, no being funny, the whole unit's 800 quid. Doesn't make a lot of sense, that. I'd rather buy another, if I was going to spend 800 quid on a car charger, right, I'd rather just buy another one of these units that I could afford to have charged up, rather than, you know, leave the engine running and burning the petrol and potentially doing damage to the cat as you're clogging it up with crap because you're not running it. So, yeah, for me, didn't make a lot of financial sense. The other thing is, if you are going down that route, I mean, me personally, when I wired up the camper van, I put in a Victron battery to battery, which is a 30 amp charger, which is 200 quid, I think I paid, and it effectively does the same job. Does the same thing. So if you're comfortable with vehicle electrics and you really want a charger that will charge it a bit faster, do it that way. You know, that was my rationale. Why would you want one as a prepper? Do you need one? I don't know, depends where your electrical demands are. It's not about the end of the world all the time when we talk about things. It could be something like the lights went out. So for us last year, the lights had went out when I had the Delta Max. That little unit ran the 75-inch TV. It ran, God, what else did we have in it? The router for the skybox itself, and a lamp. And I had that on all night. So it just made my life a bit easier when something unexpected went wrong. You know, and it's dual use. I take it in winter time in the camper van for an additional source of power. I've seen some people asking questions, you know, could you use this in a camper van as your main electrical system? Yeah, you could, to an extent. It would save you putting in an inverter, another lithium battery. It would save you putting in a solar MPPT charge controller. Obviously your inputs would be there, and your other options here for your 240 and all the rest of it. So yeah, you could use it, but I know you'll come into problems when you start talking about diesel heaters and things that have got a high initial surge for the DC side. So what you tend to find is when the glow plug fires up for your diesel night heater, the DC output on these, it doesn't like it, and it tends to cut out. So there's a workaround for that. If you really wanted to do it, you could just use the 240 side of it on the back and run it to a stabilized 240 to DC converter, and it would give you a 12 volt output. So it gives you options. You could use it as a dedicated camper van supply if you weren't comfortable with vehicle electrics, as another option. Genuinely, I think every home should have one of these, at least one. Now, even though we've got 12 kilowatts, so basically 12 of these in terms of capacity and in terms of the house batteries, I've still got 3 power banks and a generator, because electricity plays such a large part in your life that I would like to have lots of solar options and generator options and battery options. But it's got to be practical. I can lend it to people if a family member needs it. I can have one in other rooms. My wife uses a CPAP machine, so it's got a pass-through capacity. So basically, you can leave it plugged in and draw power from it at the same time, right? So you can use it to power a device and charge it at the back at the same time. And should your primary power source fail, this will stay on and it'll power the CPAP machine. So it's got, you know, real world applications for a lot of different things. Okie dokie, never let it be said I don't prove anything. So, got a kettle plugged in. Let's just see what it does. It should run a kettle, but never take anything at face value. Just, if I can just with one hand. The kettle is on. Fans cranked up. Run time's dropping. Load 1900, so it's exceeding the 1800 straight away. So it's running that quite happily. So like I say, it's continuously rated for 1800, but Ecoflow use a proprietary technology called X-Boost, which effectively means it throttles the voltage and to boost the current, or something very much like that. I've probably got it wrong way around, but that's basically what it does anyway. It allows you to run higher appliances. So we started off with a 30% charge, and we've now dropped to 4 minutes at the current load. Right, fans have kicked in. Wouldn't say they're any noisier than the Delta Max. Oh, that's another thing, they're stackable. Before I'm asked in the comments, no, it's not sponsored. Everything up here I've bought. I don't do sponsored, I've never been sponsored. It's an honest review. If it's a piece of shit, I'll tell you it's a piece of shit. Right, we have steam. The kettle is boiled. Right. Demand has dropped. Runtime's coming back up. So, there you go. It will boil a kettle of water. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Let's do something else stupid. Let's plug in a hairdryer. Okay, hairdryer. Ironically, I have no hair. Let's see if I can figure out how to work a hairdryer. Apparently not. Oh, there we go. Sorry for the noise. So straight away we're drawing best part of 1400 watts, and it's showing a 4-minute runtime on that. 3-minute runtime now. Now I'm not going to show the full thing, but what I'm going to do is run the battery down to nothing, and then I'm going to stick it on charge, and I'm going to time it, and then I'll come back to you. Okie dokie. I've discharged it completely with a hairdryer, and I've just plugged it in. So let's see if it does the fast charging like it says it does. Allegedly it'll get to 80% of a charge in about 50 minutes. So input voltage is 700 and ramping up. The fans are ramping up. Let's keep an eye on it. 900. Should get to about 1250, I believe. Let's see if the marketing holds true. I need a drum roll. I'm really bad at YouTube. I need something to pass the time here. Let's see, 11. Am I going to make it? Get to 1250? Possibly. Yeah, it looks like it. I'd heard that the fans on the Delta 2s were supposed to be quieter than the older Delta Max series. Perhaps it's my old age and bad hearing. It sounds the same to me. I've seen numerous videos. People have assured me that they're much quieter. Yeah, doesn't particularly bother me. I don't think it's that bad to start with. So looks like we're going to get to the 1250, but I'm going to stop the video at this, time it, let it get to 80%, and I'll come back with an accurate timeline of how long that actually took versus what they say it should take. Alright folks, back in a jiff. Okay, and I'm back. So actually did it to 80% in less than 50 minutes. So we got about 46 minutes. I'm going to just leave that charging to 100% while we chat. So, what's the differences between this versus this? It's quite a lot. The main one's been battery tech, guys, to be honest. You can pick the older Delta Max series up for a reasonable price now, but you're looking at a 2-year warranty with this one, you're looking at a 5-year warranty with this one, and there's a huge difference in cycles. So you're looking at about 800 cycles for this one, for the old Delta series, and you're looking at, I think it's 3,000 cycles with these ones. So yeah, longevity wise, that's huge. I mean, it really is a huge difference. However, if I was getting these for a reasonable price, like cheap, yeah, I'd buy them. I'd still buy them. It's a great unit. The fact that you've got Wi-Fi for the app rather than Bluetooth, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. They're heavier. Yeah, less cycles. Yeah, there's disadvantages to it. But if you were getting them for the right price point, I would pick them up. But it would need to be cheap, because these aren't that expensive now. They're about 800 quid. So for that, what you get, I think it's good money. Eh? It's good money for what you get. And I'm not an Ecoflow fanboy. I was considering buying Anchor, but as luck would have it, they were out of stock, or I've been reviewing Anchor kit at the moment, which is quite disappointing. I quite fancy the change just for review for purposes alone. So yeah, there we have it. Why would you want them? Why would you not? You can use it for camping, you can use it for your RV, motorhome, camper van. You can use it for doing DIY in the garden without running power cables. It'll charge most things anywhere. One question I'd had before on the older one, will it charge an EV? Yeah, but it will charge an electric car, but they're about 85% efficient this, and it's about a 1 kilowatt battery. So you're using the plug-in socket for your EV charger, and you're not even going to get a kilowatt out of it. So if you've got an average EV with a 55 kilowatt battery in it, I wouldn't even like to think what, less than a kilowatt a charge would give you. Might be enough to get you off the motorway. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, or I would discount out of hand, but you're not going to stick one of these in the boot and use it as a get me home if I run out of charge. That's not even remotely realistic. But in an emergency, would it add a couple of miles onto your car? Possibly. In fact, you know what? My daughter's got an electric Seat Me. Just for shits and giggles, that's going to be a video, because now that I talk about it, I wonder what it would actually put in terms of a charge. So yeah, I think we'll try that one as a video, and just to satisfy my own curiosity. If you've got any questions, things that you want to know, anything I can answer, stick it in the comments, drop me a message, and we'll go from there. The credits at the end are going to be basically a bit of music with all the technical information on the unit and what it does, how it works, and what we've spoken about. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Out in the woods where the old barn stands, got a bunker stocked with cans and plans. Solar panels on the roof, catch a Tennessee sun. Ecoflow powerbanks, boy, I got a ton. When the world's gone crazy and the power lines fall, I'll be sipping sweet tea and feeling 10 feet tall. Fridge hums quietly, cooking supper on the stove. Living off the grid, man, I'm in prepper mode. I'm prepared for anything, come rain or shine. From the city blackout to the long winter time. With my Ecoflows running, I'll never be alone. Living lights on cooking, I got a self-made throne. Neighbors call me paranoid, but I just smile sweet. Got a generator humming and a pantry full to eat. Water keeps running from my own dug well. Lots of simple heaven in this prepared paradise, I tell. The city end is near, but I'm not scared. I've been ready for years, and man, I'm prepared. Friends can join in when their comfort cease. In this prepper's life, well, I'll find a little peace. I'm prepared for anything, come rain or shine. From the city blackout to the long winter time. With my Ecoflows running, I'll never be alone. Living lights on cooking, I got a self-made phone. I got a self-made phone. Neighbors call me paranoid, come rain or shine. From the city blackout to the long winter time. With my Ecoflows running, I'll never be alone. Keeping lights on cooking, I've got a self-made throne. Neighbors call me for everything, come rain or shine. From the city blackout to the long winter time, with my Ecoflows running, I'll never be alone. Keeping lights on cooking, I got a self-made throne.